Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I have got an awesome game between RAGEBreathe, who is playing against EmpireKas. The map is Ohana. This is another TvZ game and I'm really looking forward to it. So Cass, anyone who follows my channel will know quite well. I cast him a load. He's always in the Antec attack tournament and usually does very well in it, and is a great all-round player, really favours lots of command centres, expanding everywhere, and is just a really quality player. Breathe, not cast him quite as much, but still, if he's playing against Cass, he's doing really well. So, what can we expect from these players? Well, firstly, Cass, well, I'd imagine from Cass we're going to see something like a 1-Rax command center build. That is a very common build he goes for. It works really nicely, and essentially it just adapts to the meta game of TvZ at the moment, which is that Hellions, they're not as effective as they used to be after the Queen change. So you know your opponent's going for a quick expansion, why not get a quick expansion yourself? I mean, it's not even uncommon for Cass to go for a command center first build, but on this sort of map I doubt he will, just because it's not the easiest to hold, it's not that huge, and obviously it's known spawn positions, so it would just be a bit risky. Breathe, on the other hand, he's almost certainly going to go for a 15 hatch into a 16 pool, and then he's got to really decide where he goes from that, because obviously there are these rocks blocking the entrance to the third base, but I mean, you can still take it. It's just a case of it's not too easy to defend, and depending on how Cass decides to put on pressure, that could cause Breathe some problems. I mean, the one option he does have is obviously going for some kind of 2-base Baneling bust, or just trying to put on a lot of pressure early on, although that can go either very well or very badly, and it's quite an all-in if you stay on 2 bases as Zerg, because ultimately you need to be taking this third base and getting up to the 70 drone mark to be able to do a lot of damage. Meanwhile, we will see Cass, he's up to 300 minerals, so we'll probably see an SCV come down to build the command center very shortly. It's already on its way, so any second now, there goes down the command center. So a 1-Rax CC is what's to be expected, and is exactly what Cass does, so glad he's playing as I know and love. Meanwhile, he's getting a scout off. These drones are running around, a marine even coming down forwards. So this is just going to stop at the watchtower, so it gives extra vision, knows exactly what's coming. This SCV is going to give a lot of information, going to see exactly the pool timing, know that at least on Breathe's half, it's all systems normal. I mean, this spawning pool, the hatchery, everything is timed just as Cass would expect, and he doesn't have to panic or defer from his normal build. Cass is getting up his second gas as well now. This is very usual. If you go for a 1-Rax command center build, get double gas straight away afterwards, as then you can get the necessary tech to catch up. You can get those reactor Hellions out if you want to, which, although the Queen change has stopped them doing as much damage, they are still effective for map control and shouldn't be underestimated, and still definitely worthwhile grabbing them. A bunker coming down here as well now for Cass, which great choice, just makes it easier to defend this top. May even wall it off with the supply depots. We'll wait and see. It depends what sort of threat he feels is coming from Breathe. Meanwhile though, Breathe, he's playing so standardly. He's only getting out those 2 Zerglings, which one will probably go to the watchtower, another one just to go and check what is going on. There is this bunker about to finish up. Here comes the factory, the reactor coming on the barracks, so everything is just going so incredibly normal. You can't actually get much more normal than this. It's the standard of standard builds so far, and the same from Breathe. He's getting up those 2 additional queens. This is something I absolutely love. I can't emphasize just how good getting up 4 queens early on is. It gives you dedicated queens to creep spread. It also means they build up their energy for transfuses if needed, if a big push comes, and it also means they're there and ready for your 3rd and 4th base when you get them, or rather 3rd base and macro hatch. So it is without doubt one of my favourite things to see Zerg players do. More than anything, these cost nothing but minerals, they don't cost lava, and that means you get more drones out sooner. They also are very good defensive units, queens, so definitely, if you don't already incorporate this additional 2 queens specifically for creep spread into your build as a Zerg player, I strongly suggest you go for it. And it's all comes from sort of this no gas, or getting gas very late, around the sort of 50-ish supply, which it just works amazingly well in my opinion, because you don't need speed or anything to really do well early on. And this third hatchery gets out quicker. It's just all great. These rocks, we may see them focus down shortly. Obviously taking out rocks with Zerglings alone can be exceptionally difficult though, because obviously rocks have 3 armor and Zerglings only do 5 damage per hit. Now we do have a tech lab as well as a reactor coming down, a tech lab on this factory. So I mean, we do have these 2 Hellions out, a third on the way, and Blue Flame is being researched. So Blue Flame is another way to make these Hellions so much more effective against drones, and essentially it's a good choice. We've also got some Marauders coming out. Now, that as well is a pretty scary build. I mean, Hellion Marauder, especially with Blue Flame in there as well, can be really difficult for a Zerg player to deal with, because what do? If you go Roaches, you get slaughtered by the Marauders. If you go Mass Zergling, you get slaughtered by the Hellions. And if you go Banelings, well, you've got to have very good control. The Banelings do seem to be Breathe's choice though, as well as getting up this Evo chamber. Just forms a nice little wall off, and actually the second Evo as well, absolutely great. The only entrance into Breathe's base now is through here, which means it's very easy to defend, and especially against Hellions it'll be very easy to deal with. There are 4 Hellions on the field though. Blue Flame is nearly finished up, but there's just so many queens. Look at all these queens milling around. We've got, is that 5 queens now we're seeing at? So obviously you can see straight away, getting those extra queens means Hellions so much less effective. The Blue Flame is about to finish, though. Stim is half done, Lair is 3/4 done, a lot of Spore Crawlers coming up, and to be fair, I'm not actually sure what has triggered this response. If we take a quick look from the vision, he knows this command center is down, he knows those Hellions are there, so I'm a bit confused why Breathe has gone for that. He hasn't even scouted to check the gas, so we'll wait and see. But again, there's nothing wrong with getting these 3 spores out. I'm on a ladder game. Essentially, by getting those spores, they've cost you, what, 225 minerals and 3 drones, so essentially it's not much to avoid just losing to Cloak Banshee. But this force from Cass is suddenly starting to look very threatening against this Ling Bling force of Breathe. He is getting that centrifugal hooks upgrade, so Baning speed is on the way out. We've got more switching around of these factories and tech labs. We've got Combat Shield on its way out. We've got Stim about to finish up. This Overseer is seeing absolutely everything. More reactors coming down, so it actually looks like Cass is going to go for a nice big push. With those Blue Flame, he's going to be able to do so much damage. The Baning hits are going to be absolutely critical. Baning speed will not be done in time, and now all of those Zerglings do get a nice round, and the Banelings get lovely connections there, so Cass didn't get the optimum push there, but of course all the Banelings have now gone. Needs to run those Marines back away from the Marines. Some great splitting going on here by Cass, and the Banelings are going to all detonate on Marauders, which is never nice. But the Marine numbers are actually starting to get quite a bit lower, but everything has been cleaned up at the moment, and essentially now Breather's in a bit of a panic spot. What can he do? There's one Hellion still alive. That Hellion is going to try and get focused down and does manage to fall, but these Zerglings are not going to engage cost effectively against Marines in those numbers. So if we actually take a look at the loss tab, well, actually didn't do too badly. That was fairly cost effective, but what you've got to remember is it's delayed that kind of 70 drone point a little way, because suddenly Breathe had to get out an awful lot of units to defend that push, and behind this Cass has essentially got up his 3rd command center very quickly. But Breathe is going to come down here for a nice little counter attack. The single Marine on the watchtower will see absolutely everything though, and Cass getting into real power hungry mass macro mode, getting up so many production facilities. That's absolutely sick. Also getting up that armory. He's got the starport there. The armory is essentially just to allow for those 2/2 upgrades to start almost instantly as 1/1 finishes. It's a great little build that Cass does. He very much favours that double upgrade type style. 4th base on the way out here from Breathe. I don't know if he did spot that 3rd command center, but I'll have a look in a minute. But if we're not careful, there's going to be some big bailing hits, and that was so lucky there for Cass. It's absolutely crazy. I can't believe those baitings didn't actually detonate, but this is really getting close. Cass has really been quite dominant by holding this position, but the creep spread from those early queens, remember linking back, is absolutely crazy. At 12 minutes it's always, well, it's pretty much halfway across the map, coming from every single angle, and this is exactly what I was saying. Those 2 early queens, don't underestimate their value. So powerful, and going into the mid game with the creep spread, absolutely fantastic. So do make sure, all you Zerg players out there, you get those 2 additional early queens for creep spread. Even just 1 is better than nothing, but Seriously, absolutely fantastic. Upgrade-wise, we've got the 2-2 melee upgrades coming out, and holy banelings. 30 more banelings being added onto the 17 already there. We're going to be just under 50 banelings on the field, and that is scary on its own, because once banelings start getting up to that stupid number, you can just A-move, and it doesn't matter how good Cass splits his army, there's just more banelings than there are anything Cass has, which isn't necessarily cost-effective, but it is kill effective, that it just kills everything. So what do we have coming out? 2-2 is about to finish up, and Breathe won't engage until that 2-2 is finished. Those Hellions being incredibly awkward, and I like the way Cass is still producing these Blue Flame Hellions. I think they're a really nice addition to this army, especially when he's getting this third base up. He's got so many minerals that essentially he can afford to make those Hellions very, very cheaply, and they are so effective against mass Zerglings, because once you start getting a lot of Hellions, especially with Blue Flame, they just shred like units. But this many Banelings is really scary, and that is the only real concern here for Cass, is that many Banelings and how he deals with them, because no matter how good he splits, but here we go, we're going to have a big engagement. All the Zerglings do engage, the Marines are spread out, the Mordors are at the front, but the Banelings being excellently controlled here by Breathe, and he's just got so much stuff at the moment. But just look at that spreading of the Marines coming out there by Cass, absolutely fantastic. And if we look at the loss tab, that definitely was not cost effective at all for Breathe right there. And the income tab, we had 67 to 57 workers. Hive is on the way though. 56 more Zerglings were in production. Pathogen Glands is about to finish up. Now Pathogen Glands, that could be an absolutely critical upgrade. I really hope to see Breathe get out a lot of Infestors fairly quickly, because frankly, against this sort of force with the Hellion Marine build, Fungal Growth will be absolutely perfect, because I mean, you can Fungal Growth those Hellions especially into position, and allowing those Banelings to get connects will just completely destroy the force. A big double drop loading up though, and this could be pretty threatening. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. There is this Overlord sitting in the far position. If it does spot it, that'd be a bit of a problem. There is a Marine there though, keeping an eye on. And where is this going to go? It's going to fly straight into the path of the Overlord. Is it going to get spotted? This is going to be so close, and it isn't, and that is just so damn close. I can't believe that wasn't spotted. Adrenal Glands is on its way out. 6 Infestors just popping now. Those Infestors are going to be so useful. We've got big engagement here, great surround. So many Banelings detonating on Marauders though, which is not that cost effective. The drop though, that is about to come down in the main base, and this Hive is suddenly looking to be in a lot of problems. If the Hive does go down, well, that's going to be absolutely huge problems. What will Cass decide to focus? Meanwhile, there's some huge fungal growths and the Banelings detonating on massive clumps of Cass's army there, and as you can see, that's just how cost effective it is. But pretty much all of Breathe's forces have now been cleaned up. He's got some Banelings coming back though, and some great Marine spreads, picking up quite a few of those Marines, but still there's just too many Banelings there at the moment to engage this effectively. And I mean, there are some more Zerglings coming out. Meanwhile, we've got Cass pushing down the side, and he's going to go straight up for that 4th base. He should be able to pick it off quite comfortably. It all depends on how many units Breathe can get in there. The Queen goes down, which in itself is a lot. Needs to spread out these units to avoid big fungal growths, and that is exactly what Cass is doing, playing perfectly at the moment. And essentially, Breathe is in a lot of trouble if he loses his base, because he will be back on equal bases. This drop in the main still hasn't been cleaned up. The Hive, that is so close. If the Hive goes down, which it will if Cass just focuses it, but he's not. 6 HP on that Hive, and by some miracle it does stay up. Like, I honestly have no clue how. Why doesn't he just target? He does, and the Hive goes down. That is a massive loss. That means that the Great Aspire was started first, so that is only slightly softening the blow, and the Ultra's Cavern also finished up, so this is really a massive tier 3 Zerg army going to be coming out very shortly. Meanwhile, well, a 4th base just being secured now by Cass, and that'll put him a base up, which is always a great spot to be in. 6 Ultras about to spot drop, and 3 melee upgrades coming out here as well for Breathe. He's got the Adrenal Glands already. He's got more Infestors coming out. Let's take a look. He's got 2 Infestors on the field. Needs to get a couple more to really engage us effectively, especially with those Ultras. And what more can Cass do? Well, Cass looking like he's going to go and expand yet again, which would put him up to 5 bases, but that'd be really bold. He's already really low on minerals, and he's going to go for it. And this is exactly what I was saying. Cass, he likes expanding. He really likes expanding everywhere, especially when he's ahead. And suddenly Breathe is starting to look to be in a bit of a tough spot, because yes, he's got this scary looking force, but with only 2 infestors, that's not many fungal growths, and he needs those fungal growths to allow the ultras and banelings to connect effectively and get nice surrounds and prevent them being kited. Now the big upgrade I'm wondering on concussive shells is done. That is going to be really, really effective, especially at helping the kiting and things like that. So hopefully that will come into play on the banelings, otherwise could be a bit difficult, although this army is looking really, really nice for Kas. If we actually look at the army supply, it's 106 to 74, and when you take into account how much supply ultras take up, that is not insignificant in the slightest. Meanwhile, we have got the 4th base coming back out, still no sign of even a lair though from Breathe at the moment, so if a drop came down and picked off, say, this Greater Spire, where's the Ultra Cabin? The Ultra Cabin's a bit more protected, but if the Greater Spire goes down, there'd be some issues. Kas is about to go up to 5 bases, so we'll still stay a base up. Well, he's already a base up because the 4th base hasn't come down yet, the main isn't mining, so essentially at the moment we're at 2 and a bit mining bases to, well, 2 and a bit mining, but 1 and a bit mining bases, so obviously that heavily favours Kas. If we look at the income, this just says it all. 2,700, it was peaking at 900. Big engagements coming in though, some good fungal growth. The ultras do get into position, but there's just so much stuff here for Kas at the moment. Those ultralists are getting completely taken down, and to be honest, that was not a good trade in my opinion for Breathe. But he's coming back in, some great baneling hits. The fungal growth absolutely essential to allowing those ultras to get in. But I just think there's still too much stuff at the moment for Kas, and Kas deciding, no, I'm just going to pick up, pull back, and see what I can do. And I mean, a lot of Breathe supply was taken down there. This is brilliant. Transfusing on ultras, so essential. Ultras have really high health points. They're big tanky units. If you heal them up, it makes them worth their weight in gold. So another reason to get those queens early on. Noticing a trend here in these other players that getting queens early, so essential. Definitely worthwhile doing. Another big double drop loaded up and ready to go. Planetary fortresses at the 4th and 5th from Kas, great choice, just protects them from any Ling run bys or anything like that. And suddenly Breathe is looking to be in a lot of trouble because Kas is maxed out, and you do not want to be up against a maxed out Terran army. He's even getting some Thors thrown into the mix here, and that on its own is very, very effective, especially against banelings. Thors and banelings mix really well in favour of the Terran. We've got this big double drop coming down. There is some banelings and zerglings here though, so Kas probably not going to try and engage. All those units would get picked off as they would drop down, and essentially this 4th base being defended very, very well by Breathe with most of his army, which is essential because if this falls, he's in major problems all of a sudden. Meanwhile, this drop is just going to try and engage on the ground, but it gets loaded up. I don't think there's even any corruptors out or tool or anything that can deal with these medevacs, which is a slight shame, but in comes this drop to the natural base. Meanwhile, Kas is pushing up to the 4th, so to be honest, Breathe is not going to be able to pull back to deal with this drop. There are some banelings there, but the marauders do stay up. Meanwhile, we've got big fungal growth going on absolutely everywhere here for Breathe, and I think Breathe is actually going to be able to clean this up. It's going to be close, but he does manage to get most of it. Some fungal growth going off on those medevacs, but the queens will not be able to take them out. And with only these 3 infestors, there's not enough fungal growth. If he could have caught all of those medevacs, that would have been a massive win for Breathe right there. But Kas, he's still ahead. Look at just the amount of production facilities Kas has here. I mean, he's getting out 16 marines at a time, 4 marauders as well, 3 hellions, and he does have the facility to get 2 Thors out at a time, but isn't at the moment. So to be honest, that is just absolutely sick production from Kas, and as you can see, almost remax now. If we look at the income, still absolutely dominating in terms of the mineral income, but the gas income pretty low for Kas. Most of his army is, remember, very, very mineral heavy. He's getting Hellions and Marines, which are big mineral dumps, and I mean, Kas, he could start mining out of these a bit more. If we look at the worker count, it's 57 to 66, so the moment you see a Terran player having more workers than the Zerg, you know they've got issues, and suddenly all of this drop looking to become very, very effective. A fungal growth does go off with the medevac there, won't be able to heal it up, and the hatchery getting focused down. Obviously, if the hatchery were to fall, it's just, while it's not mining too much, it would be a loss of production. And now a massive drop, 3 marauders, no, 6 marauders and I think it's 8 marines in there, and this is on itself very, very scary. 1 baning, badly badly AI controlled there, and the Greater Spire is going to go down. That is going to be a really big loss and there's literally nothing Breathe can do because his army is sitting there defending the 4th base. If he pulls it back, there is this massive force waiting to just walk on the 4th. The Greater Spire goes down, the Hatchery goes down. Will the spawning pool get targeted next? If that goes down, then suddenly Breathe is looking to be in massive problems. Meanwhile, Cass looking like he's ready to move forward to take out this 4th base as well, and it's going to be a big engagement with a huge fungal growth to go off. That was an absolutely great fungals happening there. Needs to chain fungal though, especially on those medevacs, and Breathe is suddenly looking to be in huge problems, and there's the GG straight away. And wow, Cass played that so well. The one thing I'd like to say is, if you looked at the end there, the infestor count for Breathe was super high, and this is a trap some Zerg players seem to fall into, where they just get too many infestors and not enough stuff to actually kill the enemy, because infestors alone are support spellcasters. They're very strong, but you need an army there to defend them and to engage and steal the damage as well as the fungal growth, so be careful not to fall in that trap. Anyway, I hope you did enjoy this game. It was super fun to cast. I thought that was absolutely epic. So if you did like it, please give it a thumbs up. If you like my casts, please subscribe to my YouTube. That would be brilliant. I get casts up every single day. So, I mean, do check them out. They're always awesome games like this. I do lots of live tournaments as well. So do check it out. Leave any comments or criticisms below, and most importantly, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you again soon. Bye for now.